Hey y'all, I have become such a tea snob and I love taking tea tasting notes and keeping a tea journal and learning about all of the teas. And I was doing it in a book, but a lot of the teas I taste are not in that book. And I really wanted a way that I could keep my tasting notes digitally. So I came up with this method and I'm excited to share it with you. And I have this free download here for you on the website. And I want to teach you how to use it. You can use this even if you are a little bit non-techie. I'm excited. And so that's what the kit looks like. And so I'm going to close that out. And here's what it looks like in the folder. Each of these are individual pieces. And to use them, I'm using Onenote. And I want to show you first, this folder is taking up my whole screen. You have to make this smaller so you can drag from the folder into OneNote. I'm using OneNote. I'm going to show you that here in just a moment. It comes with Microsoft products. If you don't want to use OneNote, I think there might even be an older free version of it out there. There's other note-taking programs that you can use that are similar to this one. So you have to make your folder small enough. So right up here in the left-hand corner, you see minimize, and then you see the close, which is the X, and you see this middle one that says restore down. I'm going to click on that, and now I can take the edges of my folder and drag them. Do you see the little arrow, the double-sided arrow? I'm clicking down with my mouse, and that's when I see this double-sided arrow, and I can pull and make it whatever size that works for me. And you can do that at the bottom here as well, or the top. And then right up here on the top bar, just find a place that you don't want to click on any of these tabs, but right above it, click down and you can, drag it off to the side. I'm going to actually, make mine a little bit smaller. So I'm going to minimize it for just a minute. And here is OneNote. You can see I use OneNote extensively. I use it for everything. I have just basic notes, and then I have, this is for where I'm learning about tea and I'm keeping my own notes. Tea journaling, I've got travel where I'm keeping track of places I want to travel to, fitness, recipes, photos, genealogy, digital scrapbooking supplies, notes on podcasts I listen to. This is the classes that I was teaching. I have extensive notes there, as well as digital scrapbooking notes for things I was teaching. And you see over here I have my Bible as a whole separate notebook. I could make my tea journal a whole separate notebook, so you could organize it how you want. But then I'm on my tea journal tab, and over here each one of these is a different tea I've tasted. Now I've not had a chance to move over all of my tasting notes yet from the handwritten form, but these are all the ones I've tasted so far. Here's a sample for you though. So you see here we have tea name, tea merchant, date. If I go back in here, you see here's the tea name, tea merchant, date. I put these in the same order that I've used them here. I've named them so that they are easy to use and that they go in order. And so you see here are This tea type is black, and so here's all the tea types together. You have tea type, and then you have all of the tea types together. But this is just a sample to show you what it looks like. And this is how I have learned to taste tea and understand each tea. It's very similar to how people taste wine. And so this is just a sample. So I have here, and I'm not going to keep that sample one. This here is my form that I have. And you can create your own form similar to this. To do that, I'm going to create a new note. To create a new note, what I tend to do is I hover in between where I want it to go, and you see this little plus. I click on it, and there's a new note. And generally, I click on here and I delete the date. And so I'm going to type right here in the title, Tea Journal Tasting Notes. Okay, and you see it changes the title over here even when you have it spelt wrong. And now I have 3 of them. Of course, the first one I'm going to delete because I'm not going to keep it. I just made it for this video. And now what I'm going to do is click out here in the middle and do Insert Table. Now the images do not work well if you don't use them in a table. They don't go side by side. And so that's just, you know, if you want to make these in Word, you can make them go side by side. OneNote is not meant to do everything that Word does. So I'm just going to create a table. I'm just going to go ahead and do the 2 by 8. And here's my table. I'm going to hover on this edge here, and you see you can make your table wider. And you can hover here, and you see what that looks like with the double arrow and the lines. And you can drag your table to be whatever you want. So I'm going to drag mine to be about this. Now I can adjust it later. But you see here, now we're beginning to look similar to this table. And I have to go back and cheat, I don't remember. Tea name is first, so I go up here. Well, I don't have to cheat. I've got them in order. The first one is tea name. Next one, tea merchant. And all I'm doing is clicking down with my mouse on the file and dragging it over to the square I want it to be in. Tea type. And all of them that I'm inserting on the left, I've got in the same format. They look the same. So origin, processing, notes. Now you can put these in any order that you want. I'm just putting them in this order. Now you see I've run out of room because I only had 8, so I'm just going to click here in this last box and hit Tab. I can hit as many tabs as I want, and it creates some more places. Then I have aroma, and then I have body, and astringency, finish, taste, and rating. So there we have it. The only problem is when I've inserted these, now you may like it like this, you may like the extra space, but I don't. So I'm just going to click here in the bottom of each one and hit backspace. I like mine to be short and condensed. I don't know why. I'm just dragging them in there. Does that, but it does. It's easy to fix. only takes a few minutes. So there you go. You're set up, ready for your notes. Now, if you wanted to, you could just type out here. This is the name of my tea. So when you get to do your tea testing, just take the name of your tea right off the package and just type that in there. Tea merchant, that would be this is who I bought my tea from. So you type where you bought it from, type the name of the store. I ordered a lot of mine online. Date, so on this one you're just going to type in here today's date. Now this is not for, of course, for your form. This is when you're actually, creating one for your individual teas. But for my form, I'll show you something that I have in mind. You'll see it down here. I have this color palette, and I like to have that in my form. So I'm going to go up here and find it. Here it is. And there's color. And if you click down on it, you're going to see the bounding box. That is with all the little squares. And you can grab on the squares and make it larger. So I've made mine larger. So let's go back to just my form. Okay, so we've created a form. Now I don't need this extra form that we just created together. So I'm going to delete it. I'm just going to go over here to the side panel, right click and choose delete, and now it's gone. I have created shell ones for just the types of tea. So here's white tea, and then the two white teas that I've tasted already, you see, are indented. If you want to indent them, you just click down and drag one way or the other. And that kind of, see, I haven't transferred my notes on that one. So I did create just blank ones to designate the type of teas. And I've gone from white, green, yellow, oolong, black, dark tea, and then blends. I don't like to drink a lot of blends, but because I want to learn about tea itself, but I do them every once in a while. So back to using this, what I'm going to do is, this is my form that I have, and so I'm going to right click again and choose copy, and then just right click again and choose paste. Now I have a copy of it, and I can click it down and drag this copy to wherever I want. Let's say I'm doing a black tea, and there it is. And let's say, I don't know what tea it is, but whatever kind of tea you're doing, see, that changes the name, and so that you can find it later. And then here you go. You just type in the name of the tea, the name of the store, today's date. Now when you get down to tea type, this type, we put it under black. And these do follow along. So here's tea type, and then here's all the types of tea. So I'm going to drag this over there. And now it's in there. Now if I wanted to type some more notes about the tea, I can. I'm going to get rid of that space again. But there it is. It has the word black in it. Now if you're really into the tea tasting like I am, you're going to start buying teas from companies that tell you the exact country and the exact location and even the exact tea garden. Like this one down here is from the Lumbini Tea Garden. They will tell you exactly where it's from, and I love that. I absolutely love that. If anything, you can at least figure out by the type of tea maybe what country it is. Do some Googling. So processing. So learn how, sometimes I have to Google to learn more about these teas. And I'll spend a long time learning about the teas before I will ever even take my first test or even begin fusing it. And I'll put all of my notes in here. And sometimes my notes get very long. So if you scroll down, next one is processing. So these are all the, right after processing is all the various processing methods that I have come up with. So we're going to imagine that one of my favorite is roasted. So maybe this is a roasted tea, or maybe it was also rolled after it was roasted. So you can drag in here these things, and let's say you've learned something else about the way it was processed. You can just type it right in here. You can make all those notes of how they made that tea, because that's how tea tastes different, is how it was processed. Obviously, a roasted tea is not going to taste the same as one that's not roasted. One that's pan-fried is going to taste different than, excuse me, one that is not. How is it's fermented and withered are going to make it taste different. This one, your notes, that's just what you've learned, or any other thought processes that would not go into any other place on here. So that's just some of your personal notes. So now I've brewed my tea. I've put all of the top things up there. I've learned about it. I've brewed it. The first thing I do is look at the color. So I created this spectrum. It took me a little while because I wanted some uniformity. It's amazing how many names of the color of tea people can come up with. You read the packaging and the same color can have different names. And so I actually used a tool out on the web that gives you tea names for various, or gives you names for various colors. And I created this one, and so far I have found it to work pretty well. So this is my spectrum of colors, and I've actually not had any above brown yet that I've tasted. I want to go out and find one, so I have found, of course, brown is your most common color, plain old brown of tea. So I'm going to drag that in there, and then I just like having the spectrum on there so that I can see. Now sometimes I will add notes like maybe this was a very clear brown. You'll see that it fits somewhere on this spectrum. You'll be surprised how it fits in there, but maybe you'll have some more thoughts about the color, and then you put that in there. Now I want to stop and mention that, oh shoot, I've forgotten her name, Suze, at Being Tea, I've watched her lessons. I actually was introduced to her when I went to the Chicago Tea Festival, and she's the one that has taught me how to do tea tastings. So go to her website. I definitely recommend you getting in on her videos and learning from her. So some of this that I've learned to create this has come from her. So I have what she doesn't call it this, she calls it something else. I've kind of adjusted this to how I want a uniformity. I have Aroma Flavors. So the first thing I do is I smell. I smell the package of leaves, or I actually take them out and I put them dry on a little, I bought some buttercups I like that I use. And so I smell it dry, and then I brew it up and I smell it wet. And you're going to put your notes in here on how it smells. So this is aroma flavor. That's what I decided to call it. It's actually just aroma, but we identify and describe those aromas by flavors because our nose and our tongue are related. So I don't have, oh yeah, so I have categories. I created, I'm going to put this on my website so that you'll have the cheat sheet too. I created what works for me. You can create what works for you. But I created some, you can Google and find other things and graphics and sheets and things you can download. But I created one for me. So I created the main categories for the aroma flavor, and they always relate to the taste. And you'll see down here we have taste. So to me, they do. It's like the aroma is, I get a category, and then the taste defines that category. That's the way I've been doing my tastings. So, you know, maybe this might be, if this is a very cinnamon-like tea, then the aroma is going to, oops, it went in there twice, be very bakery spice. Sometimes I might have two of these. You know, it might also be a very earthy, you know, kind of smell. And if I want to add my own notes right here on what I'm smelling and my thoughts, you know, this is just a personal thing for you. So what I love is that I've got all of this together, and when I go shopping I can say, have I done this one before? And go look at my notes. Oh, I already had it at this store, but not that. Maybe they'll be different. Maybe my notes will be a little different. So then we go to body. And the body, as I have learned from Susie, go take her class for a much better description. And these actually came from her cheat sheet that she will give out if you go take her classes. But body is basically how thick it is. And she had, what helped me most when she described it is consider orange juice, one with pulp and one with no pulp. And these are the categories: delicate, light, medium, full, and very full. Yeah, I think you need to go take classes to learn what those mean better, but that's just the basics from me. And now astringency, I still have trouble grasping astringency, but astringency is not bitterness. Ah, that was something I really learned from Susie. But here are the categories for astringency: smooth, low; bright, light. Now that's a very common one. Lively, brisk, which is medium; and pungent, bold. And these did come from Susie also, because that's where I learned it, and I've followed her methods. And if you want to know what those are better, you got to go take her classes. Then there's taste, and as I said, I have made up my own little cheat sheet, which I am going to put out there. on the website where this download is for you to fill in. But this is just basically what you're tasting. And my husband and I will sit across the table from each other, and I'll ask him what he tastes, and I'll ask what, and then I'll try to figure out what I taste, and we'll kind of share back and forth. Susie will teach you in her classes even more about tasting, which I love. How she takes actual food. Like I tasted a tea that was supposed to taste like a sweet potato or a yam, and I just didn't get that. So my plan is to actually do a roasted sweet potato and sit down with this tea again and see if I can grasp how this tea tastes like that. So that's kind of what she does. She actually gets the real food out. And oh, can't wait to do that more. Okay, so write down your tasting notes, everything you taste. Just, there's no graphics for that because there was way too many to make for that. And then you go on to finish. And finish is, I don't know why those are, they didn't, I'm going to have to reorder those before I put that up for a download because taste is supposed to come before finish. But finish is what you taste after you swallow. Oh, and that's so amazing to actually concentrate on that. And so anyway, and these came, oops, there's another one out of order. These came directly from Susie, again, these categories. She's got airy soft, evaporating quick, juicy mouth-watering, and these kind of go in order. Lingering, aromatic, and then drying and tannic. Tannic, that's where your bitterness comes from. Most of the time that is, you find that taste, which in the finish. That's what I'm finding anyway. I do not like tannic teas, so you won't find many of them with that labels. But let's just say this is, I haven't been filling these in. Wait, let's go back up to body. Let's say this is a medium bodied tea, so I've drug that in here. And you can make more notes if you want. And let's say the astringency was bright light. And you could just leave that in there. If you want more notes, you can add more notes and thoughts. You've got this is what it tastes like. Berry, whatever. And then your finish, let's say this one was lingering and aromatic. Like after you swallowed that, you just got that berries for the longest time after you swallowed. And then the very last one is rating. So I came up with my own rating system. Let me make these larger so you can see. 1 heart is didn't like it. It's hard to swallow. I kind of laugh at these sometimes. 2 hearts is just okay. I swallowed it. Just kind of there. 3 hearts is, well, hey, I liked it. I might buy it again. 4 hearts is, I loved it. I would buy it again. And 5 hearts is, love this tea, would keep it on hand. So I actually found one that was between 4 and 5 hearts, and I had to make notes on that the other day. So it was like a 4 heart tea. I loved it. I'd buy it again, but I didn't want to keep it on hand because there were teas that were similar to it. So I wanted to keep one of those similar teas on hand. So it's kind of 4.5 stars. So I actually wrote in here 4.5 4.5 stars and, you know, whatever I said about it. So this could be whatever you want, however you make it work. And it's very simple and easy to do. And what's great is you can come up here and, you know, search for that word and go directly to the page and find something. If you go buy a tea and you're wondering what you tasted before, you can do a search. What is also really cool is that that this syncs with your phone. So I have a OneNote's phone app. And so if I'm actually at a physical store and I can't remember, I've got it all with me, as opposed to this physical book that I was keeping previously. It also can be, you can sign in on any browser and find it anywhere you're at that you can connect online. So that's super, super cool. I kind of like that. I really like this method. I'm excited. This is what I am doing and using, and I'm giving it to you for free in hopes that you will also find it very useful. Now that I've recorded this, though, I'm going to actually be sharing my tasting notes that I create for each of my teas in some YouTube videos. So hopefully those are well received and liked. I'm not a tea expert at all. This is just going to be me experiencing tea this way for new teas and maybe inspiring you to do the same. So if you have any questions, oh, I had another idea while I was doing this. If you remember, we did the tab and we got extra rows. If you want to delete those rows, you have to highlight the entire row, right click, and delete. Because if you, let's see, create that again, if you just try to backspace or something, well, it's removing them now, but it doesn't always remove them. So if you get too many columns, I wanted to give you that tip as well. And oh, here you go. Wait a minute, I almost forgot. So at the top, this is in a box. You can create more boxes if you want. Like if I wanted to down here, I could create another one, but I try to keep mine all in one. You can drag this down. I was going to end my video and then I remembered to talk to you about some more. And then up here at the top, and I may create more of these later, I've created 3 just some title generic images. So I'm going to drag this one in here, and there, it's acting like a title. You can take any kind of graphic you want and add it to your notes. I'm actually taking photos of my teas. I don't know which one of these has a photo on it to go to it, but you'll see that in maybe in my tasting notes later, maybe not. Which one has a photo in it? Not that one. I put I put that extra graphic in. I know I've added some with some images. Oh, there's one. So see, there's my tea tasting. I've got little cups, and I have, these are my butter cups, and this is my before. I brewed it. This is dry, and this is what the wet leaf looks like. So I actually am taking pictures and putting them right in there. So going back down to our sample one, if you want to, you see how I had my little tasting notes on top of my photo. So if you right click, you can choose order, and then bring to front, bring to back, whatever. So this makes this image to be in front of other things. So see, now I can, you know, drag it, and it kind of goes, you know, under my words tasting notes, I can drag this up, and now they kind of overlap. Maybe I'll drag this over and drag this up some more, and I've got my name of my tea here, and so you can do some things a little bit with extra added graphics. The graphic I added with this one, the name of the tea is Midsummer Night, and I was like, that's the name of the Shakespeare, and I went and found it, and I found a graphic and I stuck it in there because it kind of went along with it. So this is your personal thing, your experience, and I want to say that it's so relaxing. This is so time consuming. I'm a thinker, I'm an analyzer, and when I go through this process and I do my thinking and I'm learning and I'm looking up, maybe I might even go to Google Maps and look up the where the location that this tea was made, find photos of where it was made, look at photos and videos of how it was processed, and make all of my notes. And when I get done and I've just sat there and I've just thought about this tea, I've thought about how it tasted, I've thought about it, how it smelled, and I just feel so relaxed. It's just a calming experience, and I feel like I'm getting to know the teas better. I'm really understanding how there could be so many different types of teas and how they taste different. Anyway, I want other people to get excited about tea, and not just blends of tea, which have a lot of artificial flavors in them, but the teas that are all come from the Camellia sinensis, I can never say that, tea leaf. All of them that come from the same plant, but yet are processed or grown different, have different elevations, and make the tea taste different. It's so amazing how one plant can taste so different. Anyway, I'm excited. I hope you are. Bye now.